Hello VC, this is Nowman. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about a movie, no soundtrack, just a movie, Spider-Man No Way Home.
I want to tell you my secret now.
Hello, Peter.
I first watched this movie with my son. After the movie, he asked me, Dad, would you have enjoyed this movie if they try not to hit your nostalgia buttons? And I said, no, absolutely not. I expect them to hit all my nostalgia buttons. More they hit it, more I would have enjoyed it. If they didn't hit any of my nostalgia buttons, I would not have enjoyed it. Matter of fact, it probably would not have made any sense. This is a trilogy started back in 2019 with Tom Holland as a new Spider-Man. But there was a two Spider-Man characters. 2002, Tobey Maguire started it. He had three movies out, and then 2012, Andrew Garfield started new. They had a reboot of Spider-Man, and he played Spider-Man, and he had a set of villains and girlfriend and whatnot. Tobey Maguire had his own set of villains, girlfriends, and whatnot. And if we didn't have a prior knowledge of all those things, right, then this movie would not make any sense, right? Uh, and matter of fact, if we had some knowledge of comic books since 1962, that's the Amazing Fantasy number 15, origin story of Spider-Man, Peter Parker, written by Stan Lee, drawn by Steve Ditko, that sold for recently at $3.6 million, near mint comic book, 9.6 out of 10. If you didn't have, if you had knowledge of that comic book and all the comic books following it, all the Spider-Man comics books following it to now, this movie will be immensely enjoyable. You cannot take this movie by itself, and stand alone, and publish it 100 years from now, and you don't have any of the histories behind it, just that, the movie will not make any sense. Of course, that's a better way of creating literature, standalone thing, better way of creating art, right? Movie, whatever. But this movie require hitting my nostalgia buttons. It require hitting all those historical things since 1962, since 2002 movies, since 2012 movies. Talk about fan service. Right off the bat, MCU gives you Matt Murdock, the awesome attorney, right? Rescues Peter Parker slash Spider-Man from the legal problems. Then right in front of your eyes, they give you Daredevil 2. When that brick flew through that window and he cut that brick before even Spider-Man can catch it, there was a Daredevil there, right in front of your eyes. Amazing. MCU just know how to give fan service. Unlike DC, MCU knows how to do it. They know that people love Daredevil, people love Elektra, Daredevil, Kingpin. So it looks like they're gonna bring Daredevil into MCU. They even introduced Kingpin on Hawkeye TV series, so those guys are gonna come in. Wow, yes. I wish DC can provide the same kind of a fan service that MCU is providing. They know that Spider-Man is their number one character in Marvel Universe. So MCU is gonna make Spider-Man #1 character.
I'm sorry, kid.
Yeah, me too.
Don't.
For example, this naughty 17, 18-year-old teenager outsmarts Doctor Strange, who once was Grand Wizard, who once was brain surgeon. He outsmarts Dr. Octopus, who once was renowned physicist. He outsmarts Lizard, who once was renowned geneticist. He outsmarts Electro, who once was top engineer, nerdy engineer. He outsmarts Goblin, who once was something of a scientist himself.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
One of the movie reviewer complained that this movie had a stupid premises. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, is supposed to be genius, right? And yet he got dumb. They dumb him down. When he and his friend got rejected by MIT interviewer, why didn't he approach that person again? Why didn't he try to plead his case? First of all, high intellect does not mean common sense. Second of all, kid is 17, 18-year-old kid. I remember being 17, 18-year-old kid applying for colleges. I remember my kids applying for colleges. When they got those rejection letters, we didn't think about pleading our case. We didn't think about asking for a second chance. We just went to apply for another college. Maybe that's a smart way of doing it. Maybe that's what genius would do. Honestly, I think if you're gonna, be nitpicky about it, it's Doctor Strange who plays stupid. I mean, the brain surgeon. Really, that's the only solution he could come up with. He couldn't just brainwash the interviewer instead of he gonna have to brainwash the whole planet. We go watch these movies with the suspension of our disbelief. It's superhero movies. I don't think it had a stupid premises. I think it had a lot of clever premises, honestly, and a lot of clever part of the movie. For instance, when Dr. Octopus took over Spider-Man and steal Spider-Man's nanotechnology from his suit, right? And the Spider-Man suit says, new device found. So immediately Peter Parker, Spider-Man, pairs up with the new device, and he has a control over Dr. Octopus's arms. I mean, that was clever. That was clever. Of course, I don't know if for us boomers, I know a lot of boomer friends because I'm a boomer, barely. So I try to help these people, connect their Bluetooth device to their phone. Hey, my earphone doesn't work. You're supposed to pair them up. You're supposed to find a new device. I thought that was so clever.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
I still tear up whenever I see that clip because I know what's going to happen to Uncle Ben. That message alone is why that first movie from 2002 is my favorite of all the Spider-Man movies. It was back then and it is now still, even after this great movie. I'm glad they are revisiting that message again in this movie. I'm sorry that we are losing Aunt May. Wonderful performance by Melissa Tomei. I mean, she's the one who had to deliver the message, not Uncle Ben. Aunt May had to do it. Wonderful performance by William Dafoe playing that evil guy, evil goblin that kills off Aunt May. This is where this Tom Holland Spider-Man is losing everything when he wanted it all, right? He wanted it all. And this is when Tom Holland Spider-Man is start losing. And that's I mean, that's the Spider-Man that we have known for a long, long time. Start from that 1962 comic book. I know Tom Holland Spider-Man had a pretty tough time too. I mean, he lost Iron Man, his mentor. They didn't explain how he lost his Uncle Ben and how he lost his parents. But I know he has a tough time. But in this, because how bright he was and how happy he was having his MJ and having his buddy and having backup, you know, being backed up by Avengers and Iron Man in his industry and all the Iron Man's tech. I mean, this Spider-Man had really easy compared to the other Spider-Mans, right? So seeing, you know, Tom Holland Spider-Man losing Aunt May was pretty devastating. But it made sense. It made sense that that he couldn't keep that up for too long. Something had to go. Still, Tom Holland Spider-Man is luckiest of all three Spider-Man. Because right after Aunt May goes away, he gets to meet two other Spider-Men that has more experience than he does, that went through what he went through, that are able to comfort him and tell him that everything's going to be okay. It was amazing. Crowd just burst out when Andrew Garfield Spider-Man came through the portal, and the pastor Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, when he came through, my heart burst because Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is my first Spider-Man, so that was an amazing scene. I loved it. I know that's fan service, but I loved it. And lucky Tom Holland Spider-Man, he got to meet two of his basically older brothers that went through the same thing that he went through. And you know, those two other Spider-Men didn't have that kind of support, did they? So, I mean, if you're gonna be tragic Spider-Man, you might as well have the support of two other Spider-Man. Of course, Tom Holland had to give everything up still, and to have everybody else forget him. So he would lose his MJ, his friend, Iron Man technology, all that. But you know, that's the Spider-Man that we got fond of and we got to know again from that 1962 comic book. That's the Spider-Man. You know what I realized? The first Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire Spider-Man from that 1962 comic book. Tom Holland Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man is just variant of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, right? Because yeah, I mean, and Spider-Verse is variant of Tobey Maguire's Spider Universe. So, that said, I think I see that Tom Holland's gonna make another movie, which I would love. I think he's gonna meet that Hunter guy, and Venom. Maybe he will get to Venom and get the Venom suit. I think they're gonna make a movie for Andrew Garfield. His third movie, you know, close it up for him. I do wish they make movie with the, you know, Tobey Maguire. I think they could go two routes. Make something like an Old Man Logan movie, like a Old Man Spider-Man movie, and then another one would be if he gets in with the live action movie of Spider-Verse. So in Spider-Verse, besides Miles Morales, there's two other Spider-Man, and one died immediately. I mean, that could be Andrew Garfield, and another one that came in at the later on was basically mentor for Miles Morales, which could be Tobey Maguire, you know, belly and pizza belly and all that, you know, his back aches and all that stuff. So yeah, that would be cool. I will take any of those combination, all of them maybe. I look forward to Spider-Verse opening up. Another thing I really look forward to is that Sony and Marvel are now almost equal partner. I think. I hope Sony could learn something from Marvel. Sony did a fantastic job making that first three Spider-Man movies, so I think they can do it. The Venom movie was, but if they could learn something from Marvel and give that fan service and tell a story too, have some couple good messages, and I think they can do it. I don't like this one company just. It's not a partnership when one company can just say, "Hey, I don't want this. Too bad if you don't want it," kind of thing. But it looks like they are in equal terms, and I think they could be more creative when they work together rather than one try to dominate. So that's what I like about that situation, because this movie basically reset everything so that Sony could go on its own way and Marvel could go on its own way. But I hope they choose to work together. So that's my hope. Anyway, that's my whole review. I hope it made any sense. Till next time, I'm out.